In this episode of Walking Tours, I will explore how you can transfer between Boon Keng and Bendemeer MRT stations. A train journey between Boon Keng and Bendemeer would take at least 21 minutes and an adult fare of up to $1.47. Two incredibly dumb-looking routes come to my mind when I think about how to take the train from Boon Keng to Bendemeer. A 9 kilometers, 9 stops journey by taking the Northeast Line to Chinatown and then the Downtown Line to Bendemeer, or an 11 kilometers, 9 stops journey by taking the Northeast Line to Serangoon, then the Circle Line to MacPherson, and finally the Downtown Line to Bendemeer. It is also not like you can take the bus between the two stations either, so walking would be the best option to make that 700 meters journey. The walking map suggests that walking would only take 9 minutes between the two stations, which is a lot shorter than taking the train. The journey will start with a southwards walk in a long underground air-conditioned walkway, which leads to Exit C, crossing beneath Boon Keng Road to serve many public housing developments, such as Bendemeer Light, City View at Boon Keng, and campus residences, providing them direct MRT connections without the need to cross a single traffic light. Direct MRT connections are critical in this region, as the one-way road system above makes getting around rather troublesome on the bus network, with bus services that do not serve the same place in opposite directions. Now, out of Exit C, I make a U-turn to help orientate myself onto Boon Keng Road. From here, I travel eastwards on the street level. There are 4 informal crossings to cross as a pedestrian within slightly more than 100 meters, so during peak hours, you may find yourself a little annoyed as you have to keep giving way to motor vehicles, exiting or entering the residential compounds of these housing precincts into Boon Keng Road. I have now reached the intersection of Bendemeer Road and Boon Keng Road. As with many one-way roads, it sure is very tempting for pedestrians to dash across. But with a speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour here, it's best not to try. Now, it's time for the excruciating minute-long wait for the traffic lights to finally turn in my favor. After crossing the slip road, you may notice that the environment has a complete change in character, as residential housing makes way for industrial offices. This is due to a complete change in land use zoning on this side of the road, as I now enter the Kallang Basin Industrial Estate. This part of the transfer would not be completely smooth sailing, as industrial estates in Singapore tend to have lower quality provisions for walking when compared to residential ones. You can sense it with narrower than normal footpaths that sometimes abruptly end, such as this one here, with remnants of an entry point into the old Singapore Post Kallang delivery base that was demolished almost 2 decades ago. Not sure why that was not patched up. While improvements have been made, as evidenced by the newer sheltered walkway on the right, that may not be immediately apparent and will require a detour. After passing the current Kallang delivery base, I have now reached exit A of Bendemeer MRT station. There's still a little vertical distance to go, but I am getting there. You may feel a little lost if you have never entered this station before, given that it is arranged in a rather unusual layout, with a few acute turns awaiting you. No worries though, just follow the signs.
Harap jangan membawa barang-barang yang sangat besar ke dalam kawasan landasan kereta api ini. Terima kasih atas kerjasama anda.
At slightly over 13 minutes, this walking journey falls just within the 15 minutes transfer grace period, in which distance fares will not be reset. There is hence a risk that you may overshoot the grace period, but given that the alternative is a 21 minutes train journey, this will still save time. It could also be a useful way for commuters to divert between the northeast and downtown lines in the event of a train breakdown in the city stretch of either line. Episode 16 will show another way of diverting between the two lines, and they will involve a different pair of MRT stations. After traversing to the bottom of this huge cavity in the ground, I've reached the platform level. With that, we have come to the end of this episode of Walking Tours. This is Transit Evolution, signing off.